Long before Paul Stamets went on Joe Rogan, microdosing became a health trend, and mushroom farms became fixtures at farmers markets around the country. Ancient cultures were unlocking the secrets of fungi. The relationship between humans and fungi spans thousands of years, with some of the earliest documented practices emerging in ancient China. Close to 5,000 years ago, Chinese texts like the Divine Farmer's Classic of Materia Medica, one of the foundational works of traditional Chinese medicine, described the medicinal use of fungi such as reishi and snow fungus. Over time, these practices evolved into sophisticated cultivation techniques, particularly in China and Japan, where mushrooms like shiitake were grown on hardwood logs under carefully controlled conditions. These innovations reflect a deep understanding of fungal life cycles and ecological needs, long before the advent of modern mycology. Importantly, the medicinal and ecological knowledge of fungi was not limited to East Asia. Indigenous peoples across the Americas have held long, rich ancestral understandings of mushrooms, using them for food, healing, spiritual practices, and ecological stewardship. These traditions, passed down through generations, reflect a similarly deep relationship with fungi, rooted in observation, reciprocity, and respect for the land. Today, scientific research continues to affirm what our ancestors seem to understand intuitively. Fungi play a vital role in supporting both environmental and human health. Growing mushrooms is not only a way to produce nutrient-rich food, it's also a meaningful way to honor ancient traditions, enrich your soil, enhance biodiversity, and support your own well-being. In this video, we'll explore how you can grow mushrooms yourself. Whether you're interested in growing mushrooms on logs in your backyard, starting a monotub, or even a mushroom grow kit, there are two main paths when it comes to home cultivation: growing them outdoors or growing them indoors. Each has its own benefits, challenges, and ideal conditions, and choosing the right technique really comes down to your space, climate, and what kind of growing experience you're looking for. Let's dive in. Unlike plants, which produce their own food through photosynthesis, fungi rely on other organisms for energy. Many edible species you see at the grocery store are saprophytic, meaning they feed on dead organic matter. These fungi use specialized enzymes to break down tough materials like wood, straw, and leaves, making them some of the most efficient and ecologically important decomposers on the planet. Fortunately for growers, species like winecap, oyster, lion's mane, and shiitake are not only powerful decomposers, they're also relatively easy to cultivate. Give them the food they like to eat, and they'll happily supply you with an abundance of fresh mushrooms. If you have access to freshly cut hardwood logs, you can grow mushrooms using one of the oldest growing methods we know of: log cultivation. This involves drilling holes into sections of hardwood logs, filling them with mushroom spawn, and placing them in a cool, shaded area to colonize. After about a year, those logs should be fully colonized with mushroom mycelium, the root-like structure of a mushroom. At that point, you can either let nature trigger fruiting or encourage it by cold shocking or soaking the logs in water. While it may seem like a slow process, staggering inoculations each spring and fall can lead to a steady long-term harvest throughout the year. Another popular cultivation method involves inoculating hardwood chips or straw, either directly into existing garden paths or by creating dedicated mushroom beds. You can think of these beds like lasagna gardening. Layers of organic materials such as wood chips, straw, cardboard, and mushroom spawn stacked together to create the perfect environment for fungi. Winecap, also known as King Strophoria or the garden giant, is especially well suited to wood chip beds. It's hardy, fast to colonize, and more tolerant of sun and dry conditions than many other species. This method also works well for other species like oyster mushrooms, almond agaricus, and even certain varieties of bluet, each suited to different substrates and garden conditions. If you have limited outdoor space or live in an urban area, growing mushrooms in containers like buckets, tubs, or crates might be the better option for you. My favorite approach is filling a bucket with pre-hydrated straw and mushroom spawn, then simply letting it colonize in a cool, shaded spot out of direct sunlight. After about 2 weeks, your bucket should be fully colonized and ready to fruit. The bucket tech method is one of the fastest ways to grow fresh mushrooms if timeliness is a priority. You can also get multiple flushes from one bucket, and once it's spent, you can return the material to the outdoors, either by adding it to compost or using it as mulch around trees and garden beds. Some of the best mushrooms for buckets and containers are side-fruiting oysters such as blue, golden, pink, and Italian. Perhaps the easiest of all outdoor mushroom growing methods is to use a plant and grow kit. The idea is to bury bricks of fully colonized sawdust in your garden amongst your plants, just like you would with bulbs or annuals. Mushrooms will pop up throughout the garden season, benefiting from the shade of your garden plants before breaking down and feeding your soil with organic matter. Mushrooms will start to grow in only weeks, and it's virtually guaranteed to produce mushrooms. Spore sells introductory kits for all of these methods. We'll link to them below if you're interested in getting started on your own outdoor grow. Now, those are just 4 of the most popular outdoor cultivation methods: growing mushrooms on logs, in beds, in buckets, or using plant and grow blocks. But the world of mushroom cultivation has so much more to offer. There are other methods you can explore, such as inoculating straw bales, creating totems, mycelial mulch, and even integrating fungi directly into compost systems. It's important to remember that when growing mushrooms outdoors, seasonality and local climate play a major role in everything from colonization speed to fruiting success. In the Northeast, for example, log inoculation usually happens in spring or fall, when moisture and temperatures are just right. But beyond timing, factors like humidity, rainfall, airflow, and sun exposure all influence how well your mushrooms grow. Choosing species that naturally match your region's climate and available materials is key. In warmer areas, try heat-tolerant species like pink oyster and use shady microclimates or tools like outdoor grow tents to better manage conditions. And if you want a more in-depth guide to growing mushrooms outdoors, including the methods I've already mentioned, don't forget to support the channel by hitting that subscribe button. It's completely free and it helps us keep creating content on all things mycology. Now let's talk about indoor mushroom cultivation. One of the biggest advantages of growing indoors is that you have full control over your environment, allowing you to grow mushrooms year-round, no matter the weather or season. Just like with outdoor growing, there are a variety of techniques to choose from, some incredibly simple and others a bit more advanced. If you're an absolute beginner or are looking for a fun science project, I recommend starting with a spray and grow kit or fruiting block kit. All you need to do is cut an X in the bag, mist it a few times a day, and within 1 to 2 weeks, you'll have delicious edible mushrooms. It's the easiest indoor setup out there, and it was actually the first method I tried when I first got into mycology. What makes this method even better is that once your block or kit has produced a couple of harvests, you can bury it outside, in a garden bed, under some mulch, or in a shady spot. This is called the buried fruiting block method, and it can trigger a second or even third flush of mushrooms. It also helps enrich your soil, support microbial life, and reduce waste by giving that block a second life outdoors. It is the same process as we described with the plant and grow kits in the outdoor growing part of this video, just using a kit that was intended for growing mushrooms indoors instead of in your garden. If you want to expand your mushroom growing capacity, have better environmental controls, or reduce spores in your living space, an indoor mushroom grow chamber, such as an automated boomer bin or boom room, might be the next step. Automated boomer bins are essentially monotubs fitted with a small fan and humidifier, designed to maintain the exact environmental conditions mushrooms need to fruit, those conditions being fresh air exchange and humidity. A boomer bin can hold up to 3 fruiting blocks, making it perfect for someone who wants to grow enough gourmet mushrooms at home for themselves and their family. If 3 blocks aren't enough, you can upgrade to a boom room, which is essentially a small indoor greenhouse equipped with humidifiers, fans, and shelves, which create a spacious microclimate to grow an abundance of healthy mushrooms. Additionally, the boom room isn't just for mushrooms. You can also use it like a regular indoor greenhouse to grow microgreens, seedlings, or other plants alongside your mushrooms. If you want more control over what species you'd like to grow, methods like monotubs or all-in-one grow bags are the way to go. Here, you're essentially starting one step backwards from the fruiting block method by inoculating a sterilized substrate with the species of your choice. You'll want to be mindful of your workspace and practice proper sterile technique. Sanitize your needle, the injection site on the bag, and your hands to keep everything clean during inoculation. This step is essential when working with sterile substrates because molds and bacteria are always looking for an opportunity to take over, and they can easily outcompete your mushroom mycelium if given the chance. Growing mushrooms in monotubs is another popular method. Monotubs are basically modified plastic tubs with filtered holes for airflow. This method works best with dung-loving medicinal mushrooms. Monotub growing strikes a good balance between control and simplicity for growers ready to move beyond all-in-one bags or spray and grow kits. Plus, monotubs can be partially automated with simple fans, humidifiers, and misting timers to maintain ideal fruiting conditions. As mentioned earlier, this video is intended as an introduction to the two main approaches to mushroom cultivation, indoor and outdoor, each with its own environmental parameters, technical considerations, and ideal species. Once you've chosen the method that best suits your space, climate, and goals, we recommend taking a deeper dive into the process. Our channel offers comprehensive step-by-step tutorials that cover everything from substrate preparation to fruiting conditions to support you on your growing journey. Spore also has bundled monotub kits, all-in-one bags, and spawn bags that can help you on your indoor growing journey. Links below. Whether you're drawn to the wild, natural rhythm of outdoor cultivation or the precise, consistent control of an indoor setup, both methods offer incredible opportunities to grow your own mushrooms at home. Some experienced growers even combine both, taking advantage of seasonal outdoor flushes of finicky species like chicken of the woods or maitake, while maintaining a steady indoor supply of more reliable producers like oyster mushrooms and lion's mane. Either way, growing mushrooms is a profoundly rewarding hands-on way to connect with biology, understand incredible ecological processes, and bring delicious fresh food directly to your table, not to mention connect to our ancient lineage of working with and consuming fungi. So which path will you choose? Or perhaps, like many of us, will you eventually find yourself exploring both? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more curious explorations into the mycological world around us. Happy growing!